What's up, everyone? Brandon here from IGN. I'm joined, very special guest, Mr. Hayden Blackman, studio head of Hangar 13.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No problem.
It's very early.
Yeah, it is. So we are looking at the reveal trailer for Mafia 3. You see the studio logo here. What I love about this trailer, I've seen it a couple times now, but what I love about this trailer is there's so much information just right off the bat. So you see the swamps?
That's right.
Yeah, you see this little beauty, dilapidated in the just sitting there. So a lot of time, what you can already tell is the setting, right?
Right.
Swamps. You think sort of maybe the South, but also the time period. So what is this car right here?
So all the vehicles in this are ones that are obviously inspired by the styles of vehicles from the time period. So the game is set in 1968. We looked at cars from the late 50s all the way up through the late 60s, and even you'll see a few influences from with some of the cars from even the early 70s, just because we wanted to, put a couple accents on some of the vehicles. But so this is, one of our sports cars there,
Right.
rotting away in the swamp. And then this here is Lincoln's signature vehicle. So Lincoln Clay is the main character.
Right, and here, in perfect segue,
Yeah.
here you see the dog tags of Lincoln Clay. He's
That's
the
right.
protagonist from Mafia 3.
Yeah.
And a lot of information here right now. Dog tags, you can see his sort of, his green jacket, sort of very indicative of the Army, right?
Yep.
So probably ex-veteran,
Yeah.
you assume right off the bat.
Yeah, if you look closely at the dog tag, actually, if you pause there, you can see a little bit more information about him too.
Yeah, we can go back.
That we planted in there. So again, his name Lincoln Clay, but we also slipped in there that he's Catholic. At the time period, the dog tags actually listed
religion?
the blood type and your religion, so they could give last rites. We actually had a lot of debate about these dog tags too, because there's a couple different, in 1968, they were still issuing a couple different types based on what they had on hand in terms of stock.
Oh.
So we went back and forth on that. There's another little interesting detail too that I love, that somebody that worked on the trailer caught. Cars actually in the 60s, the tuning dial was actually on the right and not the left, and we made the creative decision to keep it on the left so that you
So
could
it didn't
actually
block
see,
it?
Yeah, so you could see the tuning dial, or the actual dial itself, the band itself. But so we put a lot of effort into being as authentic as possible. We don't want to step on our. We still take some creative license every once in a while.
Yeah. And here's sort of another. He loves it. He loves that song. And here again, you can sort of see. Go back for a second to the start of it. More time period, right? Like this is one of the quintessential songs from the late '60s.
Absolutely,
right? All along the watchtower.
Yeah.
We saw some Bloody Knuckles back there. He's a rough and tumble guy.
Yeah.
And then we get to the flashback.
Right, and here's where we start, again, telling Lincoln's kind of backstory. So here, obviously, he was raised in an orphanage.
Right.
It's actually the Saint Michel Orphanage for boys. So it was affiliated with a church, which, again, is one of the reasons why he still identifies as Catholic.
Yeah, holds those ties to his religion. Sure.
Yeah, and eventually the orphanage was shut down, and he was kind of cast out on the street. And here, that last shot, if you go back, that's the first shot of kind of his patch that you see there, so his military patch.
His unit patch, yeah.
Yeah, so again, he is a vet. He was in the Army in Vietnam. He enlisted, though, wasn't drafted, so he served 3 years, but he did join a special unit while he was there. More of that comes out in the game, but it was a unit that, did some stuff, did some, dark stuff.
They saw some stuff.
Yeah,
man.
they saw some stuff and did.
And here's the sepia flashback of I love that smile too.
Yeah, we really wanted to have a moment where we could, humanize him a little bit and show him, again, with kind of the Band of Brothers feel here. But.
Yeah, and he says something to the effect of like, you didn't have to go somewhere to find your family.
That's right, yeah.
So, just to find your real brothers. That is what real brothers.
Yeah. Yeah, and that really is, again, going back to the orphanage, one of the motivating things about Lincoln is that he's always looking for a family,
Sure.
Because he was an orphan.
So after the war, I take it, coming back to New Orleans?
So the game opens in 1968. He returns to our version of New Orleans, and he falls in with the black mob here. A guy named Sammy Robinson, who runs a bar, Sammy's.
Called Sammy's?
Called Sammy's. And Sammy's got a son named Ellis, who is actually that guy in the front there with the kind of reddish shirt. And they kind of take Lincoln in and treat him, like a son, like a brother.
Yeah, there's sort of that family dynamic after the war.
Yeah.
And this, I'm assuming his Zippo from the service.
Yep,
It's got his unit insignia on it.
Yeah, it's got another insignia. So we actually did, again, a ton of research on this too. And in Vietnam, especially, the lighters were all very unique. And there was just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. And they're actually now even still pretty big collectible for people to go out and try and, there's people that have huge collections of these things, but we wanted one that, kind of spoke to what he did in the army as well.
And here's...
He was just a goddamn last name.
Here you sort of see the aftermath of what happens.
Yeah, so after he joins up with the Black Mob, Lincoln and his kind of crew, they begin working with the Italian mobsters who run our version of New Orleans, but that eventually goes bad, and that's what we kind of show here.
And we see sort of the finality of that relationship, right? Like Sammy's has been just shot up.
Yeah.
I think you said that was Sammy's son over there by the jukebox, and then our protagonist here looking dead, probably not dead though.
Shot in the head. As you see there.
Yeah.
But as we have learned through our copious research, being shot in the forehead is actually
one of the better places to be
one of the
shot.
better places, yeah. Bullet can skip around the side
there
of the
you
skull,
go.
I guess, and come out back.
And then, so you see these wingtips. It's kind of Italian looking, like sort of the Italian mob kind of vibe.
And we went back and forth on this a lot to make sure that we got the right, shoes that really popped and that were recognizable and had a little style to them, but also spoke back to the classic mob. Same with his kind of pinstripe pants.
You do sort of that Goodfellas kind of vibe to it,
Yeah. So if you do go back there, there's a little moment there where you can see Lincoln's hand moves a little bit, and to just kind of
while he's on the floor.
Yeah.
Goddamn last name.
Yeah. That his left hand.
And that is really subtle.
Yeah. Right. But it was kind of cool, and I've watched this trailer dozens and dozens of times. It took me a really long time to notice it too, but that subtlety. That's we worked with Blur on this, and that's one of the things that they're really good at, and also selling the emotion. I mean, from day one we wanted this to be a character piece, and I think they did a fantastic job with, Lincoln's eyes, and this moment in particular. So, this is the big moment here where you realize, he's not inner monologuing; he's actually talking to somebody.
Exactly, he's actually speaking to somebody. It's kind of a powerful moment.
Family really meant. You would have never fucked with mine.
And there you go.
Yeah.
You see, this guy's in trouble.
Yeah.
You know what it breeds? Loyalty. Family and who you're born with is who you die for.
Man, those facial animations are fantastic.
Yeah, they did a great job. Yeah, so that is based on a character in the game, a guy named Tommy Marcano, who is one of several brothers that run the city that Lincoln goes after.
All that spilled blood.
After after the Black Mob's wiped out, he goes after the whole kind of Marcano organization. And
okay. Yeah. So this is sort of revenge for Sammy's.
Yeah. And then there's that bobblehead thing there too. And we get a lot of questions about that. That's actually it's based on a voodoo figure named Baron Saturday is kind of the
sort of the
easy way to pronounce it. It's Baron Samedi.
Baron
but
Samedi.
everybody, they call him Baron Saturday.
And he's sort of like the voodoo figure, like a.
Yeah, but this is actually, there's a look. I don't want to give away too much, but there's a location in the game that ties back to this that Lincoln goes to. So this is meant to be kind of a caricature type thing.
A little nod to what's to come, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what it breeds? Loyalty. Family and who you're born with is who you die for.
Here again, he very threatening. This guy's gonna have a bad day.
Yeah.
And so now we see him dragging the body to the swamp. Again, another nod back to sort of that New Orleans.
Right, the bayou.
I imagine disposing of a body in Louisiana is probably pretty easy if you're a mobster.
I don't know from experience, but we...
No? Did you
we
research it all?
We actually, funny thing, we did do, we've done a copious amount of research for this game.
Yeah.
But one of the books that we all read is a book called American Desperado, which is about a mob, kind of a drug dealer True story. A guy named John Roberts who was part of the big cocaine movement in Miami, and he talks about going out into the swamps quite a bit, and the way that the alligators would tail them. They'd put guys in boats and drag them behind the boats and have them be chased by alligators. And he talks a lot about the glinting alligator eyes, which is one of the reasons why we made sure that got in there too.
Yeah, coming up. So right up here, you'll see the gators come in. Like they know. Someone made a comment like they understand what's happening right now. There you go. And those are those.
This isn't the first time maybe Lincoln's been out here.
Yeah, it's like the dinner bell.
Yeah.
Pavlov's alligators. And so this guy knows he's in trouble already. But here you get a glimpse of sort of Lincoln's support system.
So there's a moment there which is so great with Tommy too, though, that they do where he's looking around and he's looking for help. He doesn't know who's showing up, right? And the cops is somebody who's going to help him, and then later he gets this look. He's like, "Oh no, I'm totally screwed."
Yeah, this moment coming up right here is like he's just resolved to his fate. Like he knows what's happening.
Right.
There it is.
Right. And then it comes. So jeez.
All right, so going back a second. Let's talk about these three characters that show up right here. So Mafia 3, you have these are his lieutenants essentially.
That's right. So through the course of the game, you recruit 3 other criminals to become your lieutenants, and it's kind of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? So all 3 of these characters have some beef with the Italian mob or the guys running the city. And Lincoln, one of his strengths is he's able to work with kind of disparate groups and bring together disparate groups of people. And convince them all to work together. So on the left here, we've got this guy Burke, who is kind of an Irish gangster and has been under the thumb of the Italian mob for a while.
Right, now he sees his opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. And then to the right of Lincoln is Cassandra, and she runs kind of a Haitian gang, which actually early in the game is kind of at odds with Sammy, in fact, but feels that the Italian mob is never going to let her get a piece of the pie.
Right.
And then on the far right there is Vito Scaletta, and Vito's the hero of Mafia 2. So we are set in the same universe as Mafia 2. And Vito has been kind of sidelined by the Italian mob. He owns a little part of the city. This kind of literally his office is over a fish restaurant, and he looks out at the city. And has been dreaming about owning it, taking it over for years. So
there he is.
Yeah, so he's ready to kind of stick it to the Italian mob too.
So they all sort of see this opportunity, this vacuum of power that sort of arose.
Right, and what Lincoln promises them territory in exchange for their help going after the Italian mob, but he's definitely the guy in charge, right?
Yeah.
So
going back real quick, this is brutal. So there it is, and throws him in.
Yeah.
Well, kicks him in.
Yeah, lets him get dragged in.
Yeah, and then again, just to nail the point home, you see the same shoes, right?
That's right. So this was a guy that we're trying to draw the connection to.
This was the guy responsible for Sammy's.
Right.
What is it? Is it a Bowie knife? What's he got?
So it's a big combat knife. I mean, I think again we took inspiration from existing knives that they would have potentially had over there in Vietnam, and then added our own little touches to it. But
is that like his thing?
So he carries a
around
knife.
His combat knife.
Yeah, and uses it quite effectively throughout the course of the game. And that is another thing that we're trying to drive home is that I believe that the Mafia franchise, one of the pillars of it for me is that it's about kind of gifted anti-heroes, right?
Yeah.
So here Lincoln, one of his gifts is that he's a trained combat vet, and so when he comes back and he wages war against the mob, that kind of gives him the edge and allows him to own the battlefield and take it to the mob, even though he's fighting much larger groups of guys.
He's trained.
He's trained. He can use cover more effectively. He uses a wider range of weapons. He obviously can use stealth and do kind of stealth kills as well. And then one of his other gifts is that ability to bring together these 3 different groups.
Here's a really good moment.
What are you gonna do for yours?
I'm looking right at you there.
What are you
gonna do?
So then we exit out, and that is sort of the trailer in a nutshell. I mean, a lot of information really quickly, and then you pan up and you see the jewel of the swamps.
Yeah, and there it is. There's the city, right? So we wanted to end on a note that again, this is a open world game. You're going to be heading into the city. You'll spend a significant amount of time in the city there. the swamps. The bayou is one element.
One element of
but
that,
yeah,
yeah.
that's just a taste, right? So
Well, awesome.
yeah, cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys.
For everything Mafia 3 and all things swamp and gator related, you're already in the right place.
All right.
IGN.